Hey, listen here. To all my Hebrew Israelites out there, y'all make sure y'all praise God for all the Edomites out there that blessed y'all with the Blue Letter Bible, that blessed y'all with the Pop Verse software. Y'all make sure y'all praise God today for Thayers, for Strongs, for the King James Version. I mean, it's crazy to me how y'all don't believe these Edomites can be saved or have salvation. But yet, everything y'all use to study the scriptures, boy, it's all the work of the Edomites. That Blue Letter Bible, something else. The Greek. Why don't y'all just come out with your own software? Like, y'all the Israelites.
In this video,
Alright, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai is the Son of the living power, the Messiah, which these are the true names of the Most High, and His only begotten Son, in the ancient Hebrew tongue, and Lashon Kodash, which means holy language. Also want to give the bonds to the elder apostles, to the elder bishops, to the upcoming elders that rule well at GMS. I want to give peace and blessings unto the elect, the solution warm to the fellow laborers pushing His truth, right? Lord willing, His lessons edifying again. My name is Zakaria, and this lesson is ultimately going to be me rebuking, or really the scriptures, the word of the Lord rebuking him. In this lesson, I'm gonna be touching on a couple of things concerning how we're learning and how we're learning these scriptures and how we teach these scriptures, and the clear answer, is the spirit. It's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that is behind, or that is the engine in this house of learning of ours. That is the engine of this ministry. This is all by the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, not by man. And that's, a clear cut on what this guy said, which he's going off in his tongue, with his tongue, shall I say. Matthew chapter 16, verse 17, it says, and Yahweh Shai answered. So like I lost my way. It says, verse 17 says, and Yahweh Shai answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. So it's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that revealed these things, these testimonies, these scriptures that testified of Yahweh Shai, that testified of this truth. So like, let's wait for the noise to pass away. So it was the spirit that taught us this truth, that is behind this house of learning in this ministry, and that's this scripture is a clear cut on what this man said, or clear rebuke on what that man said. So he's going off in his tongue, because he's basically saying that it was Esau that taught this truth to us, this doctrine to us, which is false. Right. Right. But that's that's plain unto the righteous. We know that it's the spirit that teacheth these things. That's plain unto the righteous. But the point that I want to make in this lesson is, yeah, we use these different tools for our lessons and for our studying, right? For the ministry, right? We use the lexicons, these different concordances. We use these things, right? Which ultimately, where did these things come from, or come from? It came from Esau, right? Right. And what is a concordance? Let's look it up real quick. A concordance meaning an alphabetical list of the words, especially the important ones, present in a text, usually with citations of the passage in which they are found. So you may find these things on a website or in the Bible, right? And you also have the lexicons. which I'm gonna show you. Lexicon meaning what? The vocabulary or a dictionary, especially of Greek, Hebrew, Syriac, or Arabic. I'm gonna give you a couple examples of what a concordance or a lexicon means. You know. Right, that's Salaki. Already read the dictionary or the definition Salaki of the word lexicon. So a lexicon, a reference book containing an alphabetical list of words with information about them. Salaki, let's go into the word concordance, because it's going to give you an example, if I'm not mistaken. These are examples. For example, you go on these different websites like the Blue Letter Bible. That's another tool that we use for our learning and for our lessons, right? And when you go into who made these things, the concordances and the lexicon, a lot of these theologians, you had this guy, Salaki, right? You had this guy, Joseph Henry Thayer, was an American biblical scholar from Boston, Massachusetts. Right, so, and some of you may recognize this word Thayer, right? You had, Thayer lexicons, if I'm not mistaken, in the Blue Letter Bible, So a lot of these websites, a lot of these tools that we use for our learning and for our lessons was ultimately came by Esau, or it was created by Esau, or came by the works of Esau. Well, and not only that, I also want to talk about some other things as well, right? For our lessons, a lot of the prophets and the elders use books, historical books for the lessons. They make points out of these books that they use, for the lessons. They use a lot of documents that came by the work of Esau. They use a lot of research studies. They use a lot of historical quotes, for the lessons for the lessons. They use a lot. They use even Google. The prophets sometimes, they teach the elder apostles sometimes. A lot of times they use Google. They make points, going on Google and stuff like that. Doing their different research and stuff like that. Right, and a person may say, well, these things came from Esau. These things came from the white man, or came from the efforts of a white man. Little do you know, you say that, because of your ignorance, but you don't understand that this is the Lord's movie at the end of the day. Everything is connected. Everything is bound or connected by the will of the Lord. And in fact, I got one scripture that I'm going to start off with the lesson. I'm trying to make the point, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 verse 1. It says, for thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. So everything is connected, right? And the Lord's will penetrates everything, right? And person in the world may say that everything's connected and stuff like that. What's the word for it? A connected conscience. Well, everything's connected by the will of the Lord, by the purposes of the Lord. Even the smallest things and the minor things in this world is connected, or has a purpose, or has a reason behind it. Everything's connected, So when you look at these different people like Joseph Henry Thayer, and this guy as well, Felix Wilbur Gingrich, which he also was behind, you know, the different lexicons that we use, right, in these websites. Where when you look at these different people, right, little do they know, you know, when they were alive, little did they know that they had a purpose. Everything has a purpose. You know, did this guy, Joseph Henry Thayer, think that his efforts or his works will lead to the benefit of his enemies? Because ultimately the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, we are the enemy of the so-called white man. They are our enemy. Esau hate us, man. But little did they know they were being used to bring these things forth, to bring these works forth for our benefit. That was the purpose at the end of the day. You know, you got this thing called the Blue Letter Bible, which the believers we use, you know, the prophets, the elder apostles, they use from time to time a lot. You know, they have been using it. The creator, I forgot who's the creator. Let me see real quick. The creator, one of the co-founders of that website is James Milligan. Right, he's a co-founder of it. Did James Milligan think that his work, you know, his creation will be used for the benefit of his enemies, of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, which I'm sure he hates, because Esau, they just have a perpetual hatred in them. That's just their spirit. That's how they're designed. They hate us, man. They always have, man. They always will. But do you think he, you know, this would end up benefiting us? How it is benefited us? No. They thought they were following their own will, their own devices, their own intents. But little did they know that they were predestined. They were being used for certain things. You know? And that's just to show you, that's a prime example of the Lord's magnificence, man. The Lord there's no ending in his understanding. There's no searching of his understanding. It's unsearchable. It's so massive and great and profound. You know, so the Lord, he think more than 1,000 steps ahead. You know, this guy James Milligan, he probably thought, you know, oh, let me help my fellow white Christians out, you know, with this website. And he probably, you know, one of the reasons behind it was what? Money. Success, money, achievements. You know, a better life, you know, because I'm sure he made a lot of money from this. But little did this guy know that he were being used. And I, you know, forgive me if I'm repeating it, you know, but little did he know that the Lord had a reason for putting that spirit on him, you know. And now we're using this website as a tool for our learning. Now, another thing I wanted to say, give a man without the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai leading him these tools and see if he understands these scriptures. I tell you truly and for sure, he won't understand these scriptures. He won't understand this doctrine if he don't have the spirit, if he ain't being led by the spirit, and if he don't have the true teachers. Because these websites, these different tools, these lexicons, these concordances is being used by the world. You know, millions and millions and millions of people use these things. They don't do the world understand this truth? No. But we do. Why? Because the spirit lead us. You know? You know, so everything's bound or connected. You know? Everyone is connected, you know? Right? You got a thing called the butterfly effect. You know? You got a thing called butterfly effect. Right? Butterfly effect meaning, in simple terms, it says, The idea that something small like getting coffee can have much larger effects, such as altering your career. You know, in chaos theory, the butterfly effect is the sensitive dependence of initial conditions in which a small change in one state of a deterministic non-linear system can result in a larger or large difference in a later state. Right? And one example I could give is J. Robert Oppenheimer, you know, which he was behind creating the nuclear missile, you know, a nuclear warhead. You know, he was behind that. You know, he's a physicist. You know, he helped create the atomic bomb. He's known as the father of the atomic bomb. You know, so, you know, when he was like, you know, just giving you an examples, you know, when he was probably 15, little did this guy know that he was going to be used for a bigger purpose, because his atomic bomb, his research, his study, his works will ultimately lead to nuclear destruction, because now you have thousands and thousands of nukes on this earth that's going to ultimately be used for, again, one of the purposes of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, which was one of the Lord's plans for America be destroyed. And that's mentioned in the scriptures. That's prophesied in the Bible. That's a vision that was given to the prophets. Right? And it all started, well, it really didn't start with these people. It started in the mind of the Lord. You know? Every day, everything has its program. How this, you know, right? America, like, you know, just the history of America, that existed firstly in the mind of the Lord. To the rise and the fall of it, that existed first in the mind of the Lord. Everything is connected, you know. Everything is you know, predetermined, if you will. You know how he got, for example, J. Robert Oppenheimer, how this guy got into the business, or, you know, into that form of field. You know, who you think made him get into that field of knowledge? The Lord did. Who you think helped, or who you think put the spirit on him to have these different studies and breakthroughs in that field? The Lord did. You know, who you think was influencing his thoughts and his thought process that ultimately led to what the making of the atomic bomb? The Lord did. In that small moment, in that insignificant, well, he's not really insignificant, right? But, you know, compared to, you know, existence as a whole, in that small moment, in that insignificant man's life, there was a bigger purpose behind that. You know, if you understand what I'm trying to say. You know, when you think about you know, because in ancient world, you had scrolls. I'm sure you brothers and you sisters know what scrolls are. You know, and now in modern times we have books. Well, when you think about the transition between scrolls and books, right? It was the Roman Empire that created that, you know, and I looked it up. It was the Roman Empire that, you know, that made that transition. You know, and it was called the Codex, right? You see it right here, the Codex. You know, the Codex was a historical ancestor of the modern book. right? And the reason why, because scrolls, there was a lot of disadvantages of having scrolls, you know. There was a lot of disadvantages to it. You know, scrolls, you know, you can't really fit too much on scrolls. You know, you can't really fit too much words on a scroll, right? Right, but you could fit a lot of words, a lot of chapters, a lot of books, you know, or sects, or a lot of parts of books in one large book, if you understand what I'm trying to say. For example, the Bible got many books, you know, and it got many books, it got many parts. You got the Old Testament, got the New Testament, which is full of books, got many chapters, and it's one whole portion of a book, if you understand what I'm trying to say. You couldn't do that with the scroll. You know, you probably need many scrolls, you know, one scroll for this book, for the book of Genesis, one scroll for the book of Leviticus, you know, Exodus, you know, right? You could tell, you know, why there needed to be a transition. There was many disadvantages to scrolls, and there's many advantages to books. You know, for the, you know, to the format of it, you know. Who you think put the spirit on the Romans to make that transition? You know, and what did that lead to now? And what did that lead to whose benefit, you know? To it lead to now, you know, lead to us having this book, you know, instead of carrying around scrolls, you know. You know, it led to us you know, having it easier when it comes to, you know, having our way with these books, with these words. You know, imagine in modern time you had like 5 scrolls in your damn book bag. You know, you gotta pull each scroll out if you want to read something. You know, if you want to preach, you know, you gotta put a scroll back in the book, in your book bag. You know, take another scroll out. That's just, you know, too much. And I'm led to believe that the Lord put the spirit on those Romans to make the codex, you know, to make the book, you know, to make that transition from a scroll to a book. So now it's more practical, more easier for us, you know, using, these different objects that contain many words. You know, everything is connected, if you understand what I'm trying to say. You know, everything is connected by the will of the Lord. Right? The Lord was the one that determined everything, everybody's purpose, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Everything has its uses, right? Everything's fit, you know, for the Lord's, you know, for example, the Lord may use this person for this, you know, said purpose. The Lord may use you for your said purpose. The Lord may use this creature for this said purpose. For example, when you think about an ant, which is an insignificant insect, it's insignificant, but it has its purpose according to the will of the Lord, according to the Lord's mind, if you will. Without ants, this world would have, the ecosystem of this world probably would have been failed. Everything is connected. Everything has their uses. Everything has their, operation, whether they know it or not. You know. So when you think about some of the books that the prophets use in their lessons, a lot of the prophets, a lot of the elders, they use books for their lessons, right? A lot of times they go into history. They use historical books to back up, the doctrine, to back up what they're saying. Now, a person may say, oh, ain't those books from a damn white man? or Edomite or damn heathen. It don't matter, because at the end of the day, it was the Lord's purpose for that to happen, for them to you know, it don't matter if it came from Edomite. The Lord is using that book now for edification, for learning, you know. I even use what's it called? Encyclopedia. I can't really pronounce that word, but I use Google a lot when it comes to me teaching. In the middle of my teaching, I go to Google and look up something. Right? A person may say, "Ain't Google from did not the white man made Google?" It don't matter, because this is what the Lord is using it for. The Lord using it for our edification, for our benefit, shall I say? Not for our edification, but for our benefit. So everything's connected. Everything has their uses. Everything has their benefit. Everything is made according to the thought of the Lord. When it comes to these tools, it was the Lord's purpose for us to use them for our benefit. And that's really the point I'm trying to make. In fact, let's go into these scriptures real quick. Let's go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 15. It says, "The Most High have granted me to speak as I would, and to conceive as is meet for the things that are given me. Because it is he that leadeth unto wisdom and directeth the wise." It says, "For in his hand are both we and our words, all wisdom also, and knowledge of workmanship." So everything is in the hand of the Lord. So of course these lexicons, these concordances, these different websites that we use, these different historical books that we use for our lessons, they may have been came by the hand of a heathen, but it came according to the purpose of the Lord, according to the will of the Lord, according to the Lord's mind. It came to be, if you will. Right? And when you really think about it, the omnipotence of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, nothing is self-standing. The only thing that is self-standing is Yahweh. He's the only being that is self-standing. He's not subject to anybody's will, to anybody's thoughts or intentions. He is not directed by anything or any power or force. He is not guided by anything in heaven or earth. He goes according to his own mind. He always existed. Right? He's the only thing self-standing, independent. He wasn't created by somebody. He always was and is. Right? So when you think about man, we are not self-standing. We are not independent. Our existence or even our achievements are independent. When you think about, becoming rich, that a person don't get rich, by his own abilities, or he's not the source of his riches. It's the Lord. The Lord really is, the Lord predetermined for you to be rich. The point I'm trying to make is everything is in the hand of the Lord. Everything's connected. Everything has their purpose according to the mind of the Lord. If you understand what I'm trying to say. Even the spiritual demon Satan. Satan, he has his purpose. He has his use. The Lord created Satan. And if the Lord is omnipotent, then that means Satan, he's in the hand of the Lord as well. If you create, some, device or invention, it's really thanks to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah that you created. Right? You got a thing called simulation. This is the Lord's simulation. It's reality, man. Right? But Lord willing, I made my point. To how trees operate and how their ways and their existence, they have a purpose according to the mind of the Lord. To even damn insects like bugs or moth, they have their purpose according to the mind of the Lord. Squid and crabs, they have their purpose according to the mind of the Lord. According to his intent. Oh, another example I wanted to make as well is YouTube. Right? Who made YouTube? Right? Let's see who made YouTube real quick. Right? YouTube was founded by Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, Jawed Karim. Right? Which I'm sure was probably heathens, Now, what is YouTube being made for? Or what is being published through YouTube? This truth, this gospel. Now, according to prophecy, the gospel of the kingdom, according to the scriptures, the gospel of the kingdom must be published amongst all nations, and then shall the end come. That's the will of the Lord for this truth to be published. Also, you got Psalm chapter 19, where it speaks about the heavens revealeth his handiwork. I may be loosely paraphrasing, but the Lord determined YouTube and the internet to be used for this truth to be published, for this gospel to be preached. That was one of the purposes of the Lord for YouTube. Now, those creators of YouTube, whoever made YouTube, those people who made YouTube, I'm sure they had their own devices, their own intents. But little did they know, because we're earthly and they're earthly, they're man, they're mortal, they can't know the things of the Lord. Little did they know that YouTube will be used for a prophetic purpose, if you will. A prophetic use, They were a man is tools, whether you want to see it. Man is creation. Creature means creation, Everything has their uses. Everything's connected. Everything is connected, and they're connected. Everything is connected by the purpose of the Lord, Or everything, trying to say it the right way. Everything is bound, shall I say? That's the right way to say it. Everything is bound, according to the purposes of the Lord, or by the purposes of the Lord, shall I say? Everything's bound by the purpose of the Lord, And we're going back to that butterfly effect theory. One example, surrounding that theory is what the flap of the wings of a butterfly can change something on a larger scale on the earth. Everything's connected. Everything has its purpose. Little did you know that pigs, they benefit the earth. You know, they have a purpose. You know, they have their purpose. They benefit the earth, and you can look it up. You can look up, you know, the different purposes of these different animals. You know, a pig, which is a unclean animal, an insignificant animal creature. It benefit the earth. Now the pig is a pig. The pig don't know it, but it benefit the earth. The pig in its own world, but it benefit the earth. You know, there's a purpose on a larger scale, according to the mind of the Lord. You know. So, you know, what that guy said in the video, he's going off, right? You know, he's going off according to his ignorance. You know, he don't understand the power of the Lord. You know, right? Another person I wanted to talk about is King James. You know, King James. You know, the England King James first authorized a new translation of the Bible, which the King James translation. That's one of the greatest translations now, the most popular, and we use it. You know, we use it the most. We use that translation the most. Now, the King James, which he was a black man. I don't know if I said this, but he was a black man. You know, and he probably had his different desires, his different intents behind him creating a new translation or authorizing a new translation. You know, he probably had his own will behind it, but little did he know there was a bigger purpose for it, for his works, you know, which is not really his works, you know, because everything is predetermined. That's why, you know, when you know, even when it comes to making these points, I'm thinking about how a man really shouldn't be proud or arrogant or haughty. You know, the rich man shouldn't be proud in his riches or in himself, because it was the Lord that predetermined him to become rich. It was the Lord that put him on a path to become rich. The king shouldn't be proud because of his achievements, whether he got victories or he won wars. Kings shouldn't really become proud because it was the Lord that predetermined you to become to have those achievements, to become king, that put you on a path to become a king, or to have those achievements, to win wars. Nothing is self-standing. You know, we are not self-standing. Our works is not self-standing, independent. Right, and one scripture that proves that, you know, everything is predetermined. Everything, there's no such thing as free will. You know? And to prove that, let's get Proverbs chapter 21. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 1. I'm trying to find the scripture, Salaki. All right, Khan. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. It says, "Man's goings are of the Lord." To the minor, to the major things that you do, that everybody do, is of the Lord. You know, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? So no one can really understand the purpose behind, the 100% purpose behind everything. Now, in this truth and this thing of ours, and it's light, and it's truth, and it's knowledge that we have. To some degree, we understand certain things, but we don't understand everything. Hey, we don't understand, why the Lord had you go to the damn store yesterday, and come across, an old friend. Just giving you an example. You probably just thought you was going out to the store and meet up with an old friend or something. But little did you know, the Lord had that happen for a bigger reason, or for a reason. There was a purpose behind that. Or during a storm, a hurricane, the Lord could have a damn tree fall upon your house, and you may not know why the Lord did it. You may be confused why it's happening to you, but the Lord had it happen for a reason, for a purpose. Everything has its purpose. There's a reason for everything the Lord do, and a lot of times the Lord thinks 1,000 steps ahead, more than 1,000 steps ahead, man. Yahweh is intelligent, a God of knowledge. There's no searching of his understanding. It cannot be contained. That's the type of power that we serve. For example, the Lord could, just giving you different examples, The Lord could use a homeless man who is wicked as hell. And the Lord could use a homeless man to say something wise to you at that moment that can impact you, further on in life, If you understand what I'm trying to say, Or the Lord could have you experience something when you were younger that, impact you in your future, Or the Lord could use other people's failures and losses, for you to be more wise in your way in the future. Everything's connected. Everything's has its purpose. Everything has its reason. There's a set course. There's a fixed course, predestination, fate. Others will call it. For example, another example. This gonna be my last example. A lot of the wildfires that destroy homes and that end up killing a lot of people, in this world. A lot of those wildfires were started by a person who probably was camping, camping, not camping, but I forgot, they were just chilling outdoors. They was probably chilling. Outdoors in the woods or something, in some area. They was probably eating, smoking or whatever. And, their damn cigarette butt, they threw it away. They were done smoking. And they left, and that same cigarette butt was still lit and ended up catching on fire, or, causing a fire in a woody, dry area. And that fire can become a damn large wildfire, end up destroying homes, killing people, Just giving you an example, Now, when you truly think about that small event or that small thing that one person can cause something massive and so something evil, you know? When you really think about it, it was the Lord that caused that to happen. It was the Lord that put the spirit on that man to go to the woods that day and smoke, you know? You know, just giving you an example, you know? You know, like a, what is it called? A snowball effect. You know? The Lord could use something that happened 10 years ago to influence something tomorrow. You know, everything's connected. Everything is bound. You know? Everything has this set of course to the people, to the creatures. You know? You know, but I'm going to close off on that. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles, to the elder bishops, to the upcoming notice that rule well at GMS. I want to give peace and blessings unto the elect. And salute shalom to the fellow laborers pushing his truth. And all praise and honor and glory be to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, shalom.